sir. So now it is the time for the interaction. So the stage is all yours, Suborno. So you can interact with the students and all other members that have come today to interact with you. Thank you.
Oh, I am on. Okay. First stage? Alright, good. So, before I start, I would like to thank everyone who has helped me be here today. I am so... I cannot list everyone who has been helping me so far, but all the faculty of Bodoland University, as well as the chief of the Bodoland Territorial Council, as well as all of the students and teachers at Bodoland University. I'm so excited to be able to speak to you all right now, and I am so honored that you have chosen to help me communicate math and science to you. So I love math and science very dearly, and I hope that by the end of this session, you will love it too. So, before, I think this is an interactive session, so you will get to ask some questions on the spot, and I will answer them. But before anything like that, I wanted to give a brief lecture about infinity, and how math isn't always going to fall into your hands. So, I guess let's start with that. Infinity is a very confusing number. Some say it's not even a number, some are confused by the concept. It's just something that you can't grasp. It's something that you can't pull into the real world, no matter how hard you try. It's way too far away from anything your brain can comprehend. And so that makes it really weird to work with. It's really just the concept of something too big to surpass. But, I mean, can't you add 1? Can't you add 2? So there's a concept of different amounts of infinities, but we'll get to that later. So what does infinity really mean? Why do we use it? Why do we define things like it? Well, we don't just define it for fun. We don't define it because we wanted to. And we define it because it's a useful notion. Sometimes to describe the real world, we have to leave it. So, infinity is an example of that, along with other examples like every irrational number, examples like E, complex numbers, pi, the golden ratio, phi. Negative numbers themselves are technically are not a real concept, but these are the things that we have to pull out of real life in order to depict the real world. So sometimes, technically, I think I've heard somewhere that you can do math without complex numbers, but you'll run into notation issues everywhere. It's extremely hard. Sometimes we define things for convenience, not because they are actually a parallel to the real world. So, math can be hard to imagine sometimes, but you don't always have to get a good grasp or a good hold on what something is. Just to be able to work with the concept, you don't have to fully understand exactly what you're working with, because no one can truly pull the square root of -1 or something that's infinitely big into the real world. In fact, now we have a study of infinities themselves. Well, not really. It's a subtopic of set theory. It's what people call cardinality, which is essentially measuring the size of infinite sets. So, infinity is a very untangible concept, and sometimes we have to keep it that way. Sometimes we can't quite stay within the real world when describing it. So, don't feel overwhelmed if you just can't get a grasp on what you're working with when it comes to math. You sometimes have to rework your brain to get into the details. But once you understand the details and you've done the details, you can mostly gloss over them. But don't let this encourage you to totally ignore them. So, that's all for me, I guess. Math isn't always going to be just a parallel to the real world. Math doesn't just always describe something in reality. Sometimes we have to go a little further than that, and that's okay. So don't feel overwhelmed when trying to understand concepts like these. I guess that's all. So that's all I want to say for now. Thank you.